So you two have to pick. One of you plays Amsterdam, one of you plays Berlin. But the two of you can decide who plays what. Overall, it is. We think that Berlin is somewhat stronger, but I don't know whether you will feel the advantages of Berlin that much.
Yeah, Berlin, when it arrives on the same day, it arrives first, so it is likely not to get or to get the defender's advantage. So it is likely not to get
I guess I will
or to get the defender's advantage.
So I have an excuse.
Alright. Should be good like this. Yeah. So just be careful when you see that both armies are arriving on the same day. Berlin arrives first. Keep that in mind. Serenade?
So we're in. Okay. We'll start.
Wait, did you just start the game? Yeah, you did. Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, because I was totally not in the thing.
Yeah, like...
Hopefully it doesn't crash.
Oh, it should be fine because I'm still in the thing.
Alright, connected. And not even the latest. Alright.
You're the second. You're actually the fastest.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll explain the scenario quickly, and then I guess we'll talk about some basic things that we expect both sides to kind of do mostly correctly. I don't know, we'll see. So about this scenario, everyone has the same country, obviously. You have the same force limit, the same ideas, same manpower, blah, 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 same ruler, same generals, yada, yada, same army tradition. So everyone starts with 245, I think, troops. Yeah, some of them are being built, but all of these are infantry. So both sides start with 0 cannons. And your infantry are already being split, so you don't need to move them, okay? Just wait for the build. And so you have to decide how many cannon stacks you want. We recommend at least 2 to 3, at least. But it's ultimately up to you. And the next thing is you have no forts in your country. So the rule is you can build up to 9 forts, excluding a capital fort. You can build up to 9 forts, and you cannot build forts on the border with your opponent. Okay, so you can build forts on the border with me. You just can't build forts on the border with your opponent. And yeah, so the tech is 32 for all the techs. The mill tech says 31, but it actually has all the bonuses of tech 32. And there is a special tech 32, which is equivalent, like it's a new tech that we added that gives 0.25 tactics. Just so that it's a stalemate breaker if it goes down to that. And then you're still using the longbow unit, which is the tech 5 or what? Tech 1? I think it's
tech 5.
Yeah, it's the tech 5 unit, so remember to change it. And what else? Yeah, so everyone starts with 3 generals. You probably want to get more new generals. I don't know. That's up to you. And no building boats. You can't build boats.
No, damn.
Yeah, because people have different naval force limits. And
there are no events that can trigger during the game, so don't bother.
Everyone is orthodox. No defender of the faith. There are no events. Like you don't get events from advisors and such.
You also start with the era bonuses of the latest era.
Yeah,
the relevant ones.
Yeah, you start with the military bonuses of the last era, the revolutions era. So you have bonuses to forts, free force march, and 20% cannon from damage from back row. And everyone has 500k ducats, so money shouldn't be a problem. And the next thing is you can't declare war on your opponent until 20 January 1447. It's in the game, like it's hard-coded. You cannot declare wars until then. And you have to declare war before 1450 because we're not going to watch 2 people like at peace forever. Yeah, I think that's mostly
that is pretty much it.
Yeah, I don't think I missed anything. Yeah.
Nope.
So yeah, so I think the important things to focus on. The first thing is setup. Like make sure at the start of the war you have all your quality bonuses ready. Like don't forget policies, don't forget your orthodox icon, don't forget the right advisor, don't forget to get better generals because 4443 is kind of bad. You know, all of these stuff. And then the other thing that we'll be looking out for is whether you're able to reinforce the main battle consistently, because I think it's quite bad if you know, you take a battle that's good, but for whatever reason you don't reinforce on time, and then your front line breaks, even though you could have reinforced if you played slightly better, you know. So yeah, I think that's the main things we're gonna be trying to look out for here, and hopefully we'll get to see some nice tactics in action. I forgot one other important thing, which is that we have changed the terrain in this scenario, and all provinces which are 2 tiles away from the border are now all either grasslands or flatlands, with the exception of Hessen.
Oh, and what is it? Vochtlands, yeah.
Yeah, only Hessen and Poland are unchanged for, I don't know why, but yeah, you can't build a fort in Hessen, so it matters less, but yeah, that's not the point. The point is that all the terrain get changed to grasslands, so you have more opportunities to attack your opponent. And the fact that you can't build forts on the border of your opponent means you have more opportunities to attack your opponent. So try to be creative with that.
Alex, you've built a fort in Hesse, or you're building one in Hesse.
Yeah, no forts on the border with your opponent.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, the rest are okay.
Yeah, so I think that's it. So we'll unpause.
And only 9 forts total.
Yeah, only 9 forts total. Your capital fort doesn't count as one of them.
All right.
I mean, if you have a fort on your capital, it counts, but the capital fort itself doesn't count.
Good.
Right, okay.
Well, be ready for war in January 47. And good luck to the both of you. We're going to retreat to our channel and unpause in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, we'll unpause in 3 minutes, so good luck with your preparations.
Thanks.
Good. Welcome, guys. We're continuing on with our Duel series. This is episode 7. This time it features DonCamillo on Amsterdam versus Alexbrumbart on Berlin. And of course, I'm joined by my co-caster Serenade.
Hello.
Hello. How's it going?
Okay.
I guess. It's just okay?
Yeah. I made more purple crystals in the lab today.
Wow, that's great. But no, I was going to say that there's something pretty important that's happened. Something massive, actually.
Is it really massive, though?
Oh, it's incredible.
Okay, so we released a guide, kind of, for multiplayer.
Yeah.
I guess Distinct, you should link the guide.
I already have Serenade.
Oh.
You can get access to fucking Serenade's guide just clicking in the description of the stream or the video.
Okay.
For free! For free! And Serenade, tell me this. Truth or fake news? If I read your guide, and I know nothing about EU4 multiplayer, will I be as good as Eagle? Or Eagle, I guess.
Well...
Will I be as good as Eagle?
If you have like, let's say at least
the answer is yes, fucking Serenade. Yes, you're going to be as good as fucking Eagle, who was like featured on the very first show.
Well, if you have a decent fundamental understanding of the game, and you read the guide and follow all the recommendations of the guide, you'll be pretty fucking strong at
pretty fucking strong. Here we go. Yeah. Guaranteed by Serenade is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Almost as good as Serenade. Almost as good.
Money back confirmed.
Once you have the next parts coming out, then you can be as good as Serenade, or better actually, because some things are going to be ridiculously advanced. Yeah.
Yeah, probably better, because like even I don't do all the stuff that I recommend.
Yeah, but it sounds like a pretty good deal. Just
because lazy as fuck.
Yeah, well that's Serenade. But I'm actually going to think that then there's going to be a lot of tricks and stuff that are going to blow your mind compared to what you know today. You think you know the game, but you know nothing. Jon Snow. But yeah, as good as Eagle. And who doesn't want to be as good as Eagle, huh? Well,
yeah, like Igil is actually already one of the strongest players. Well, one of the stronger players at least.
all right. Let's see what's going on. I think they both looked a bit at what they have to do. So Berlin has given everything to the nobility, though. Actually, he's only at 90% influence because he's not recruited minister, and he's already used some of the interactions. So some misefficiency there. He's not given edicts either, so some more inefficiency there.
Oh, I can use the chat.
You're gonna need to. On the other side, okay, everything given to nobility as well here. So why don't you impulse your name?
I said in 1 minute.
Oh. Alright, alright. Okay.
But yeah, so I hope that this setup thing becomes less important as time goes on, because it's kind of stupid that people lose the scenario because they don't know how to give all their provinces to nobility.
Well, yeah.
Like, the nobility thing is extremely specific to this scenario, so I don't really like it. The manpower edict thing, however, is good to know because it is much more general.
I don't know, I think it's pretty important to know this is like it's supposed to be the tournament setup, so it's supposed to be, you know, everything about the game, and you min-max every single potential advantage you can get. Yeah, it looks like some people are gonna be confused, like DonCamillo with the EPP culture generals, because he skipped the discipline +3 guy, or the discipline +1 guy who he can't actually upgrade because it's not of his culture.
Oh, I might have forgotten to tell people that yeah, the culture is EPP. Well,
neither of them are setting military power to or military focus to military. Yeah. What does the guide recommend?
Well,
always put
in general, yeah. In general, military focus is the best focus, especially when you're at war, because one of the ways to break stalemates is to have more millpower generation. That's very important, because a lot of the stalemates can be broken by millpower generation, either by getting better generals or by hiring generals more often, which lets you get more manpower and therefore more troops, or by getting a tech or idea advantage over your opponent, and all of these rely on millpower generation.
Yeah. Or even by assaulting, like that's key as well.
Or taking objectives by assaults, yes. Or like even using force march more liberally because you have more millpower, you know, all of these things.
Yeah.
Even though the force march thing is less likely to be as impactful. But still, it's something.
It is something. I mean, I find myself quite often lacking military points in the wars. Mostly because of assaults. And one of the tricky things is, like, sometimes you want to wait for 250 military points to recruit 5 leaders, get your manpower going. But then after that, you have to remember that you got no military points to assault. I think we've all been there. That we proceed to rush to take a battle because we just gotten a lot of men. And then you can't even push and do anything with your victory because you don't have the military points to assault. Alright, let's keep looking at what they're doing.
So they're both embargoing me, that's nice.
Yeah, both have chosen drill infantry, so that's good. So far there's 4% army professionalism on Berlin, so he might waste army professionalism.
Yeah, if he's not careful, yeah, he might waste
He's
that.
not yet recruited, Mark, so, but it looks like he...
Maybe he's paying attention, we'll have to see.
Yeah, actually, no, I think he did increase the maybe, I don't know, maybe. But they both have not recruited their advisors at all, like...
Yeah, so for this scenario, actually, for war in general, if you're not fighting a war, what you want to do is to maximize your manpower recovery. So the best war preparation advisor, if you will, is probably the manpower advisor, because it increases your manpower recovery when you're at peace.
Okay, let's see.
Of course, the guy that reduces land maintenance is also quite good because of its event, but you know.
Yeah, but no events here.
Yeah, but no events here. Yeah.
Well, actually, I think the general recommendation is that you don't want to recruit the +3 discipline or +3 land maintenance guy because they
When you don't
you want
need
to
them,
keep
yes.
them in
Yeah.
case. Yeah.
You don't recruit them when you don't need their events. But when you want to, like when you're preparing to go to war, the land maintenance guy is quite good. Because
He's very
you
good.
use him, yeah, you
I
use him
think
at least.
he's
get
the guy you want to try and get he's the event that triggers your or the signals that you need to go to war now.
Yeah, because they're 20 moral. So for this scenario, if you optimize every aspect of the country, you should have about 1.3 million troops in total by the time wars may be declared. So we'll see how they do with this regard. I think for most players, if you get to 1.1 million, that is already quite good, but obviously not optimal.
Yeah. Well, with this advisor situation,
I
like
forgot to
no
tell them about the
military,
strategy. Holy shit.
there are edicts here, so that's good. What, you?
I forgot to tell them about the strategy.
Yeah, I mean, that's totally irrelevant, though.
I mean, it's irrelevant, but it's still part of the rules. I'm gonna go tell them right now.
Yeah. Anywho, so this is very puzzling here. He forgot to use these things to get. He's also not getting his advisors. He has not rolled yet. It looks like, right? Yeah, but he's just not making any. Like he's making 7 less military points per month than he should be. And as you can tell, that's pretty disastrous. And he's also supposed to have 200 more. Just because he's already supposed to have used the... Okay, here we go. He's starting to increase the influence. He will get the disaster eventually. Looks like he took the points, but only 150. Yeah, you gotta remember that if you get to 100% influence, you can get 200
points, yeah.
Right. Never recommended in regular campaigns, though sometimes.
Well, it's not recommended in general, but in a lot of specific situations, it can be a good idea to get 100 influence.
Yeah.
Like for example, if you're I don't know, like if you're a 2 PM, like say Butua, right? You can give a single other province the nobility, and then that gives them 100 influence, and you take 200 mil points. And then 1 year later, you revoke that, and you give your single other province to the clergy, and then you have 100 influence on the clergy, and then you take 200 admin points, you know?
Yeah.
That would be a pretty good strategy. It's just, like, for most countries... What?
Yeah, say?
Yeah, for most countries in general, it's quite unsustainable to be at 100 influence. Like, the disaster ticks a bit too fast for my taste, and if you get a bad event, you just fuck yourself.
Yeah, definitely. But I think like there is a situation. The first one is, of course, when you want to trigger a disaster, you get just like here, you can just go 100%. The second,
the nobility disaster is the only one that is worth triggering situationally.
Yes,
probably.
You could sometimes say like maybe to prevent one disaster, you could get another one. But most disasters are fairly harmless when you know how to.
Yeah. The clergy,
when you know how to manage them.
The estate disasters are actually pretty bad compared to the normal disasters, because curtailing them requires you to like mess up that estate, and it also gives you minus a lot of stab, and ending the disaster gives you like -3 stab or something. It's not like most disasters where ending the disaster is good for you. The estate disasters are actually terrible, and you don't really want to be in them.
It's true.
Let's check out whether they built their forts. No, but they're building. Okay, Let's look at Alex's fort placement.
Alex has been building some universities as well.
So Alex's forts in Bremen, Lüneburg, Thüringen, Magdeburg, Oberpfalz. Okay, so he's doing this strategy where you build forts in every other province. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of that. But okay, I would say this is not a bad fort layout overall.
Yeah.
He also has a fort in Poland. Oh, knee straps here. Spicy.
With Hamburg as well, but would prefer that one in this margin.
I mean, Hamburg.
Falkland land is not a bad choice because it's a woods, and Thuringen is so important. Yeah.
Poland is definitely a good fort.
You have like a second opportunity because it's pretty much the most important fort.
Yeah, well, the main problem with Poland is I feel like if Poland is a fort, you will sometimes mess up your reinforcements, because
they can march onto it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Your opponents can path onto it, whereas if Fola is not a fort, your opponents will not be able to do so.
Yeah.
I actually had an idea some time ago that what happens if your opponent is moving onto a fort and you mothball the fort? Does the opponent stop moving onto it? Like that would be pretty spicy.
Oh no, sorry, just.
I
Well,
mean,
I have had some like suggestion to people like just delete forts randomly and trap your opponents and stuff that. But
so fort mothballing is actually an interesting idea because by removing zone of control, you can reset your opponent's return province.
Oh my god.
that would be really next level. Like imagine if they walk from Bamberg to Poland, right, and you mothball Poland, so they win the siege in Poland, and the day they win the siege, you mothball Thuringen. So their return province gets set to Poland, and then you turn the fort back on and suddenly they're trapped in Poland. Like, that would be some next level shit.
Yeah. Hopefully not. I guess we'll have to discuss that in part 4 of your guide, mothballing tactics.
Yeah.
It'll be, I mean, if we're going to be discussing like things that we know no one is ever going to apply, like the stack cycling tactics, or switching your unit pips in
battle
in relation to the generals that you have compared to your opponents and stuff like this.
I guess there are a lot of cheesy stuff you can do, like skipping forts using boats. Like it's So we'll probably end up discussing quite a lot of zone of control because zone of control is super important. Well, okay, so DonCamillo is Amsterdam, right? Yeah, okay.
Yes, DonCamillo.
So Amsterdam's fort layout is quite interesting. Here. They're very far back.
Still no.
So he is completely foregoing the earlier forts in preference for woods forts, which are further back.
Yeah. Oh wait, he didn't build level 8 forts.
What? He built level 2 forts.
Yeah, and then go message him.
Well, I'm not sure whether it's intentional, but
there was this. I don't know who it was that made this level 2 fort and was like, "Oh yeah, it's gonna work out." No, just build your level 8 forts.
Oh, that was Tornak. Well, the thing is, he tried a cheesy thing which doesn't work. Yeah, he made one level 2 fort with the specific purpose of zone of control trapping your opponent. But that's not how fort zone of control works. Like, it doesn't work in his situation. Because what he needs to do for that zone of control to work is to assault the level 2 fort when his opponents pass it. But if you can assault the level 2 fort, that means that your cannon stacks already have access to your opponent's back line. Which means you will just kill all of their infantry. You do not need to trap their army if you kill all of their infantry.
Serenade speaking the truth.
Well, the thing about zone of control trapping enemies' armies, I think a lot, like, I don't know, but a lot of people want to do it. Whereas oh my god, some guy discovered my spy. That's terrible. And I'm a retard. I do not have the spy advisor. Oh well, hard for me to watch the war now, I guess. We're gonna have to take espionage ideas now. What the day?
Alright, from the looks of it, the Berlin setup, though not 100% efficient, is still more efficient.
I mostly like the fact that Berlin's forts are closer to the border, even when they're not on woods.
Yeah.
Because so the first thing is grassland forts are still good forts. Because some of them have the potential for river crossing, you still get the defender tile bonus, so these forts are still good forts. And you kind of want these forts to project zone of control over a larger area so that you reduce your enemy's mobility. Like what DonCamillo is doing here is he's giving his opponent quite a lot of mobility in this central Rhineland area, where he doesn't have a lot of forts on the border at all. Like, I think Köln would be a very useful fort to restrict enemy movement somewhat. And same for Pfalz.
Yeah, there's a couple of forts that could be nice.
Like either Heidelberg.
And then there's Heidelberg, Pfalz,
or
Aachen, Cologne.
Yeah.
These are all pretty good forts. There's 4 cannon stacks on Berlin and 3 cannon stacks on Amsterdam. As you
Okay,
always
so-
say, we'll have to see if we're gonna see any use out of that 4th cannon stack. Who do you
exactly.
think is... Right, I think we both agree that Alexbrumbart probably the better player.
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it's hard to judge that objectively.
Yeah.
Well,
Of course, everyone remembers DonCamillo playing Hungary in EPP
yeah.
8th edition, where he was brutally ganked by a evil coalition organized by the Serenade himself, as his tradition.
No, that's not true.
Yes, that's true.
I didn't gank him. I wanted to kill
you
him.
ganked his friends, yes.
Yeah, well, we didn't gank his friend. We
But you.
3v2'd his... What? No,
I'm an
his-
innocent bystander,
You're
right?
an innocent bystander who, got a lot of land from helping me. Anyway, war in 1 month, so...
In
we'll
1
be-
month? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. 2 months, yeah.
Yeah, 2.
Um,
1.5 months. So we're quite interested to see who.
Okay,
declares
well,
war
he needs
first.
to make 1 more general.
Okay, so let me
Alex,
infiltrate
so he can
first.
get some more manpower.
So let's look at his. Oh, okay. So Alex is not at all prepared on the border, but he's quite close, so he could walk. Okay, he is moving over, so that's good.
He
he
needs
knows
to
that
remember
war is
to
coming.
take the icon to switch to the discipline advisor and to put on his policies. And on the other side, we do have the advisor, we do have the icon, we don't yet have the policies.
He's using this 5-4 instead of this 6-2.
But we're missing so many mercs on the DonCamillo side.
So Alex is not in position. Okay, maybe he'll declare an Ansbach,
Maybe, yeah.
but he's not. Okay, so the first thing I see with so I can't see DonCamillo's army because he caught my spy. Like fuck.
DonCamillo's army is not in position. He's completely up north in Netherlands proper.
They can already declare, but no one's declaring yet. So usually you want to declare ASAP because you want to set the war goal. But anyway,
you want the advantage.
Since they're not declaring, I guess we'll talk about basics. I guess army composition. So the first thing I want to say about
here we go. Ansbach, yeah.
Ansbach. Okay.
Okay, let's look at the generals. He's got a 636.
Yeah, his 6-2 is hiding in Oberlausitz, which I don't agree with because I think this guy is much better than the 5-4.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not much better, but almost certainly better than the 5-4. Yeah, and he's force marches vanguards now, so that's good. But he doesn't have the infantry for his 4th cannon stack, so this guy's just gonna be sitting back home, I guess.
So DonCamillo is actually not grouped, like he's not formed the vanguard in terms of he has an infantry stack on the same province as his cannon stack. But of course, if now he's grouped. Okay, never mind.
He's moving on to Bremen. That's a bit hasty, eh?
Yes, because his other troops are in a position. But he also
where is the support troops in Hoya and Osnabrück or Paderborn? I don't see them.
All right, he's sending.
So this setup is quite bad. Okay, let's check policies first. Neither side has policy. Oh, okay. So Alex has no policies. So that's mistake number 1.
Doesn't have discipline. He has 0 quality basically.
Yeah. So Alex has no policies. That's mistake number 1. And I even said it before the war starts. I don't want to see anybody with no policies. And DonCamillo has 5 policies, so that's good.
DonCamillo has everything quality related, except that he doesn't yet have the disaster. I think.
Neither of them have a disaster, right? They're both feudal monarchy.
Yeah, it's gonna take so long to take for DonCamillo because he only has 80%.
Okay, this is some dead infantry.
Okay.
But
no, is it though? No,
Alex actually arrives on time.
Yeah.
But look at this. So DonCamillo has 15% discipline advantage and 0.9 morale.
But he's still going to lose the fight. Because he has two of the cannon stacks have already been committed. So if you're
yes, that is true. He's committed to.
The problem is these 2 other cannon stacks are not at all in position. Now he might go and try to assault level. Well, he doesn't need to assault level 2.
Well, the thing here is,
He's also
Alex
reinforcing
is
too
15
slow.
discipline. He's missing the policy. Yeah, he's of course he's reinforcing too slow. He's down 15 discipline.
Yeah, but
So
still, like,
yeah.
alright.
So
I mean,
he's
15
missing,
discipline is a lot.
of course, it is a lot. Like he's missing the policy. He's missing the
I
advisor.
don't dislike this
missing...
decision to just say, well, the other guy doesn't have the quality. In fact, the difference is so massive that had the rolls been better, it could have been a wipe on 120k Vanguard, probably.
Yeah, because Alex was not reinforcing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, so equal losses here actually. Huh? But the main thing here is that is Alex going to react and actually put on his policies? Because the first thing you do when you take a battle, right, is fuck, my troops are fucking bad. And this is a mirror matchup. Alex is assaulting here. Is that an assault? Yeah, he assaulted in Baden. Okay.
Did he do?
Yeah, so this is kind of like a
distraction. It's level 2-4 then, so okay, no, but yeah, you're right, he did as well.
Well,
you can see that he took damage.
Yeah. The main thing still is the fact that Alex has no policies. So it should be an automatic after the first battle. When you realize your troops are utter garbage, he's gonna get his 40k caught here if he's not careful.
Okay, DonCamillo did did consolidate. Again, they're reinforcing with the cannon stacks, which is definitely ineffective. And he's also still missing a lot of mercs. It's like he feels compelled by the force limit or something. Because he started with 608 men, I think.
Oh,
so,
that's... Yeah, okay,
now,
that's
of course, he has manpower in the bank and military points, but it's of course not what you want. You just want men out on the battlefield.
From the outset, yeah.
He also needs to remember to remove force march to let his moral region.
Yes, like this 90k can get wiped if he's not careful.
Not can, it's almost a guaranteed wipe.
Well, yeah.
It's true. Now he has... movement from Alex top.
Yeah,
might try an assault, and if he gets past this, he can wipe everything here.
Doesn't have to. What the fuck? He has 43% chance to win with like.
Yes, it's level 2.
Yeah. Like, oh my god. Okay. Well, but the problem is this is not like.
I'm surprised he doesn't stay there. Like he could intercept this.
Well, probably he saw DonCamillo go back with a Vanguard, but. Like, we're talking about all these tactics here, but Alex still hasn't solved the most fundamental issue of his country. Well, where's that 40k going? That's really dangerous.
I think he sent it out before, yeah, still has not.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You kind of want to force march your reinforcements as well. What is he doing with these infantry?
Baiting. Advanced special tactics.
I mean, it's... Okay, he's moving them back now. So okay, so Alex is like, okay, he has the better army set up, I feel. He has more troops. He has 4 cannon stacks. He has somewhat better generals, if I'm correct, because he has a 6-fire.
Well, he rolled them, so yes, definitely.
I mean, DonCamillo has a 5-6.
He has a 5-6 and a 5-5, so he rolled some.
The 5-6 is actually kind of okay compared to the 6-3, I feel like. So it's not that. Okay, so Alex doesn't have a massive general advantage. But right now he has a really, really bad disadvantage here. He still doesn't have the advisor, still doesn't have the icon, and still doesn't have the policies. So right now, like, yeah. So I'm not sure what's his thought process here, because he's not making a move. Probably because he realizes that he has quality disadvantage.
No, because if he realized that, then he would put on his he would activate his policies.
Exactly, he would know that.
So he didn't realize it. I think they just both don't have a plan in terms of they don't know what they need to do to win or like what they try. They're not even taking an offensive position at all, like Nassau and Frankfurt, which you could easily just guard and sit on. Is gonna remove some manpower region from your opponent. Instead, they're just like both very scared and trying to react to their opponents.
Well, they had some interesting fights at the beginning. Well, by interesting I mean crushing, because one guy doesn't have policies. But I mean, it was somewhat of an interesting skirmish up north. But now they're kind of just both sitting back. I'm not sure. Like I can't see DonCamillo stuff, but I will be able to see it soon.
Alex needs to put force margin on his cannon stacks. That's
He also
very,
needs
very
a second.
crucial.
He also needs a second cannon stack to escort reinforcements if he's gonna make this push up north.
Yeah.
Also,
Well,
don't
he
forget
does
the warp
have,
goes
but
at
he just
Unspot. Yeah, he's not. He's going.
he's scared of, like, or he doesn't make the vanguards all the time for some reason.
Yeah. So here we get back to the fourth cannon stack sitting in Potsdam doing nothing because he doesn't find a use for it, I guess, yet. But you know, as we always say, on an open battlefield, more cannon stacks is always a huge tactical advantage.
No. Okay, but here we go. So DonCamillo is pushing with his cannon stacks only.
He still has force march on this guy.
Wait. Did he? Okay, he has a fourth cannon stack himself now, actually.
Okay, so
because that 120k stack is a cannon stack.
So Alex still has no policies. We're gonna see when he turns on his policies, because like having no policies this late into the war, maybe he knows he has no policies and he's playing super defensive because he wants to get the tech. Like that's one possible reasoning. Of course, it's
no, because he's been. First of all, he doesn't have military focus, so definitely not. He's recruiting leaders all the time, but not 5 together at the same time to get that.
What?
4%.
He discovered my spy again. What the? Okay, let me tell him to stop counter-espionaging.
Okay, there's wait. There's movement north. DonCamillo is going in, and yeah. He arrived 1 day sooner, so that means the infantry or the cannons will not be on the backside for Berlin. So this is, you can see the numbers are just catastrophic for him. Eventually,
Berlin still only has infantry on the back row.
Yeah, because his thing arrived too late. Now, on the other hand, a cannonless cannon stack but it was a cannon stack, so.
Yeah. Well, Alex needs to reinforce this battle in Oldenburg, right? I think these reinforcements are coming too late.
He's still trying to go for Baden down south for some reason, instead of just focusing on these defensive battles, or they were somewhat aggressive, but because the thing is, DonCamillo is, if he just manages to push above this like starting force, DonCamillo is completely out of position to reinforce. I think here Alex was just by maneuvering south instead of focusing on just one place, he's actually decreasing his chances of winning. He's already lost a lot of war score just 2 fights.
Well,
I
mostly agree because like basically what he's doing is he's splitting off 200k troops with this maneuver down south, which basically does nothing, right? He's basically doing nothing. Because if he loses this engagement up north, he can't capitalize on his gains down south. Like basically what's happening here. So he got a fort, but he's forced to run because he can't protect these reinforcements. You know, so I mean, this would have been a good move if he won up north, but if he doesn't win up north, this is useless.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not even the main problem. Still, he has no policies. Like, if he has policies, he wouldn't be so hard pressed to reinforce, and you know he would have much more leeway in terms of making mistakes.
I don't think so, actually.
Oh, what is this attack?
Yeah, this 90k man. They're not consolidated at all. They still have mercs to recruit. Both of them, I think, have quite a lot of mercs. 20 mercs. Okay, so not a lot, but how many men does Alex still have? 750 already. So he's already like so down in terms of men. They both have the same amount of men, but DonCamillo still has 300 manpower and 400 military points.
Yeah, so like DonCamillo is just overall playing well. It's not that he's playing better tactically. It's just that he made less mistakes because his mistakes matter less.
Yes.
Like because he has such a quality advantage. Like his mistakes have not hurt him at all in any way, because you know he gets away with it because he's up 15%.
His mistakes. So far, he's lost 0 manpower. Except through attrition on the cannons.
Yeah.
And that's it, because the opponent has not been able to force him to use anything but mercs.
Yeah. I mean, the
quality even though he started with 600 less men than he was supposed to, which is mind-bogglingly huge, and he has almost no military points because he has 400, and that's with 3 military point per month that he's getting because he's losing 6 in terms of not having. And there's a fight in Ansbach in terms of not having military focus and not having a +5 advisor.
Okay,
and still he's so far ahead military.
Okay, so Alex turned on policies now, and you can see he's doing much better. He still doesn't have the advisor. He still doesn't have the.
Still doesn't have the advisor. It's a -1 battle, but
he doesn't have the advisor. He doesn't have the icon, but it will be closer at least. Yeah, he still runs. Okay.
Well, missing 10% thing, so he needs to. Yeah, I mean, they're not going to be consolidating after fights and mass recruiting because this is not the issue here. This is also an issue, but like it's triggering to see that DonCamillo his reinforcement troops are completely out of position, but it doesn't matter because he doesn't even need to reinforce. He can just reinforce like cannon into cannon stack, which is the last thing you want to do because if you do this, there's a competent player.
Whoa.
You're gonna lose the main fights.
This is gonna be a stack wipe. This is gonna be a stack wipe.
Yeah, in this case, it makes sense to join with the second one because
you want to wipe. Yeah.
You want to wipe. Yes.
Yeah.
Ouch.
So basically, DonCamillo is just playing with 4 vanguards, right, and nothing else.
Yeah, he does have a third cannon stack. He's gonna get them there.
Well, So Alex is just trading sieges, but if trading sieges Alex Alex wins because DonCamillo is level 2 forts, like he needs 2 phases to win a siege.
He actually was unlucky on both.
Yeah, unlucky, but okay.
So if you're Duel, you just jump. His vanguards always start
he's assaulting here, but
too low moral.
Well, the thing about DonCamillo is you don't even attack these vanguards. You go behind and kill its infantry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got 4 stuff, so you can take every single
Alex
one.
Has to reinforce. He needs to force march these guys. So,
okay, it's -2 here.
Yeah, very lucky in Münster as well. Let's see whether Alex can reinforce.
And also, this stack has 0 moral, so it's really not going to help by reinforcing. This top battle is lost.
Yeah,
if you can reinforce this other battle, it should be fine too. Oh no, what is he doing?
No, that's not where he wants to go. Okay, go into Münster. Go into Münster.
But DonCamillo doesn't go into Osnabrück. Like he could have wiped those 120k.
He can't go to Osnabrück, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so Alex has his front line broken, and
I didn't even see that it was occupied. The fort.
Yo, Alex needs to move with this 100k. I mean,
boy.
Okay, so that was actually a disaster.
But look at he's taking 9 damage, 0 damage now. See, there's this fucking bug where your cannons just don't want to go on the front. You saw that didn't get wiped because it took like for 6 days it took 0 damage.
Yeah, because the cannons are on the back line, so they don't take damage, right?
Yeah, but that's so fucking stupid.
Well, so I was gonna say that DonCamillo finally gets punished for playing with 4 vanguards and nothing else, but he didn't actually get punished because Alex didn't reinforce on time.
Yeah,
like I think those were excellent engagements for Alex, but he didn't his troops were in position. He just didn't reinforce properly. Like all he needed to do was to reinforce on time, and that would have been it. Like easy war because he would have won that engagement and pushed further, and he would have completely dominated this situation. Because his opponent doesn't have any more zone of control, he can use to stop you from getting Ansbach.
Yeah.
But okay, I guess it resets now with... did he at least get War Scroll from battles? No, he did not. He lost 7 more, so that's kind of unfortunate for him.
Yeah, and he is sticking with the war goal, so eventually DonCamillo is going to win.
DonCamillo is sticking with the war goal, yeah. He's also taken this opportunity to get some provinces, which is quite good. Some unoccupied, like unfortified provinces.
Yeah. Yeah. If only he'd go more south. How about, does he now have the advisors? Still not, nor the icon. Still 10 discipline. This is so massive.
Yeah.
Alright, DonCamillo pushing one again. He might just go Thuringen. Like he's getting he's getting positively reinforced every time he does these aggressive moves, which are actually pretty terrible.
Yeah, it's actually bad for him, but the thing is, he's really getting away with them. But if he attacks during it, he's actually gonna get crushed. His general's much worse.
Referring in, he's 6-4 versus he's using Serenade here, God.
Yeah, I mean, you should never use Serenade as a general in this setup. Like, if you can avoid it, like, it's such a terrible general to start with.
Yeah, just like in real life. And
Shots fired.
Oh, I should not scroll in, scroll out all the time. But...
Yeah, I mean, I do that all the time too, but I know.
Yeah, when you're playing, it's just...
Yeah. It's a bad habit that you want to get rid of, I guess. Can I finally infiltrate DonCamillo's administration? He keeps catching my spies, for fuck's sake.
Now, the funny thing about this is, still, position-wise, even though they were like massive battles, that went really well for one side, from a geographical position, no one has occupied territory, no one has advanced, no one has really pushed their advantage, and this is still very much a winnable war for both sides.
Yep.
Right.
Though of course,
there's the worst core thing that you have to go.
DonCamillo can make more mistakes at this point.
Yeah.
Like, he can afford more mistakes. Okay, so no, I thought Alex is gonna go to the war goal because that's one thing he actually wants to do, but he isn't. Why is that? Why would he not be interested in the war goal? Maybe because he thinks he doesn't have the cannons to protect it. To protect war gold, you want to stand in Würzburg and Ansbach.
He's just sort of moving.
You only need 2 cannon stacks. Not sure why he doesn't do it. DonCamillo force marches. Is he gonna go for a play?
Yeah.
So I think this general in Oberpfalz, the 6-4, is the best general on the field so far, right?
5-5, 4-4, 5-6,
yeah, the 6-4 is the
4-4
best general
by far.
So far.
But he's also not, Alex also not using his 6-2 guy that he had. And
well,
he had a 6-3-6 who was definitely better.
Oh yeah, the 6-3 is better than, the 6-3 is definitely better than this 5-4.
Yeah, I guess the 6-2
better than this 5 also. The 6-2 is not necessarily better than the 5-5, I think.
Yeah, the 6-3, no doubt, much better. It's not being used, so we'll have to address that as well. Of course, they did def apparently a little bit.
Well, that's completely of secondary concern. Like,
yeah, no, but you see, it's funny that is remembered, but not.
Yeah, exactly. That is why you do not tell beginners to build universities
like
that.
No, okay.
Because they pick up on the wrong things.
Icon of Saint Michael on Alex. Now he just still needs to get that discipline. So DonCamillo deciding to push on to Thuringen. Right, as always, when this happens, typically you're very happy. You can take a defensive fight, you just push onto that defensive fight and you take it.
You reinforce with
especially since it's a 6-4 versus a 5-5.
Yep.
So you're getting actually...
Well, 6-4 versus 5-6, I guess, because I'm pretty sure DonCamillo reinforces the second vanguard here. But still, it is a general advantage that you want to take.
Yeah, so if you're like... Alexbrumbart, every time this happens, his reaction is to just sort of... He uses this as a diversion tactic.
Also,
and exposes
he has a
himself.
Noble Republic, his opponent doesn't. His opponent is ticking so slowly.
And he's scared of taking the defense. Okay, now he's moving. He really just needs to take the defensive battle.
Well, yeah,
move
so
his
let's
troops
see whether
north.
He reinforces correctly
to get there. He's starting to move his reinforcements before, so it looks like he's prepared.
Let's see if he's able to extend his entire army into Thuringen with a vanguard. And this guy does not want to go to Lüneburg. These guys up north do not want to go to Lüneburg. Remember what I always say?
Doesn't see it.
Yeah, he doesn't see it. But infantry do not path onto forts because your opponents can... and not to Magdeburg.
Okay, well, he's sending the good general in. It doesn't seem to be -1, but it's still defender's advantage.
Yep.
He's missing 5 discipline, but that's that should be an equal fight, basically. 5% discipline missing, but you have more moral, and it's defender advantage, so it's actually probably favoring Alexbrumbart. Now he just needs to reinforce.
So if Alex can reinforce with this last 60k and his entire army, I think this one's in the bag. If he just reinforces on time.
Yeah, but he's way too greedy. Like, that worked out because those were terrible dices, but he needs to send those 80k right now. In fact, they're not gonna make it anymore. It's too late now, especially if they're not force marching. Okay, they are force marching,
but it's really, really close. Like, it's really, okay.
Yeah, his line broke, so now this fight is over.
But he still needs to go. He still needs to go with his second Vanguard.
Yeah, it's too late.
Like, okay, yeah. Oh, he's lagging.
It's actually -1 now, but
yeah, because DonCamillo gave a river crossing. But I mean, when your front breaks, you just can't take it anymore.
Yeah, you just have to leave. Oh, going to Brunswick.
Only 4,000 cannon casualties.
24.
Oof.
Yeah, and once again, okay, no. This time there was only one reinforcement stack on the front, so the cannons take their right position.
Well, the thing is, Alex is still not using entire army. He has 60k in Stade, not doing anything, and he needs to go in Thüringen again. It's 43%, so maybe he'll route this other cannon stack. No, he goes for Brunswick.
Problem is,
no, not to Paderborn.
He has the wrong general now, purple on Brunswick.
Okay, so now Alex has the advisor. No, he has the icon. Okay, so at least he wins this battle in Brunswick, and hopefully he goes straight to Thüringen.
And then wipes it. Groups everything, consolidates, goes into Thüringen and wipe.
Okay, surrender, but
still need to go. You still wipe, and then you assault, take it back.
He's like, so what he was doing is he's super indecisive. Like, it's not indecisive. It is a mistake. It is basically a mistake, because what he chose to do is he chose to reinforce this battle in Paderborn, which is of exactly 0 consequence. And it's not even a good battle. It is a battle of 0 consequence. Whereas he could have wiped an enemy vanguard and taken a fort.
Not just that, but actually, even though he doesn't wipe the opponent leaves the fort. You can at least send like the 20k there that's doing nothing on it.
So they don't get garrison.
They don't get garrison. Now they have 2k. I mean, that's fine. You're still gonna assault it and take it back. But you could have assaulted with even less casualties.
With like basically no casualties if he has 100. Yeah.
And like in one day.
But yeah, basically this shows like a strategic misunderstanding. Like, he's not sure which battle to prioritize here, because this battle in Paderborn clearly is not the priority for him.
Yeah, actually, I would just have retreated out of that battle because it's so irrelevant.
Exactly. That battle is of absolutely no consequence whatsoever. But I guess it's a morale boost for him, because now he wins 2 battles and he takes back his fort. So, okay, like it's a morale victory, and hopefully we'll see if he can convert it. Like, so right now he's doing the right thing. He's gonna prepare for a battle in Oversticht. Yeah, but he doesn't look like his troops are.
It's actually not an easy position to attack, though, because of there's a lot of ways or a lot of provinces the opponent can attack you onto, and the reinforcement path is very vulnerable.
Yeah, true. So I think what you should do is you should just stand your second cannon stack in Friesland and go from Groningen. That would be good enough.
Yeah.
And so DonCamillo really needs to stop force marching this guy. Which has less than half moral.
Now, he also needs to, like, he has one of his cannon stacks that has only 26 cannons, so basically unusable, and 39 on the other one. It's pretty bad. Missing even one cannon, it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So he definitely wants to group up like one of his cannons with the other ones,
but
and
Alex
just make. He has a lot of manpower, so he can just make. Alex is out of manpower, and he's not consolidating.
He's missing a lot of cannons, so he needs to reorganize his vanguards.
His cannons are his army is basically fall into shreds, and he's likely to do the same mistake Mobius made, to not try and reorganize that when that is like top priority. Once your cannons start like fumbling, then you need to stop the war they just delay every battle, reorganize your entire front. It takes time, you lose territory against competent players, but it's something you need to do. Now, the good thing with DonCamillo is just he's not pushing.
Well,
so
he also needs to reorganize his army. It's just that it's easier for him to do so.
It's less crucial, though. He has one cannon stack that is out of commission, but that really doesn't matter that much. Because so far, no one has used, I would say, cannons tactically at all, really. There's never been more than one real battle at the same time. Okay, there's been this last fight, there were 2 battles at the same time, but it was actually a misuse of cannons. You definitely did not want to go there with your second stack of cannons. You just wanted to take one single fight. Yeah. That was a defensive fight.
Yeah. In fact, what he had to do, what Alex had to do with his second cannon stack is not go from Hanover to Paderborn, but to route around Brunswick and try to go to Thüringen. Well, we know that would have been futile because Thüringen would have fallen, but if Thüringen didn't fall, that would have been an excellent play.
Yeah.
Of course, the most excellent play is not to lose the battle in Thüringen in the first place. I mean, if that was possible. But yeah, now Alex really needs to reorganize his cannons because he has a Vanguard with 38 cannons, a Vanguard with 36 cannons, and a Vanguard with 36 cannons. So basically he has 0 Vanguards now. And yeah, when this happens, you need to reorganize your cannons so that instead of having 0 Vanguards, you at least have 2 full Vanguards.
Alright, DonCamillo did reorganize his army. He has 40 cannons everywhere. And
this is such...
He puts he just made 4 cannons stacks.
Yeah, he just makes 4 Vanguards.
Fuck the reinforcement stacks. You don't need those. You just need. To be fair, his solution is more elegant than the Uber noob solution of we just make 1 big stack.
Yeah. Like this is okay. So this is still quite inefficient, but it is not as bad as 1 stack of 300.
Yeah, you know, it's not that bad because he has very little manpower. Because the main issue is you're gonna have manpower mixed in with your mercs, and you're gonna start losing them. But Camillo is basically fighting the entire war without really using manpower, which should always lose you the war versus a competent player. But here, it is fine. Not getting sanctioned for this.
So for half of the war, Alex didn't have policies, right? And that's a huge problem. But now he fixed that. Hopefully he gets the advisor. Because
he's never going to get the advisor.
He has the icon now, but I hope he has the advisor.
Eventually, DonCamillo will get the moral bonus from the estate. Eventually.
Eventually, indeed.
And still, they're both scared. Now, is he going to tick to 50? He is actually going to tick to 50 right now. He doesn't remember to remove the forced march.
He's not ticking to 50. He's ticking to 49.
What?
He's ticking to 49.
Minus 14. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Well, he can just occupy 1 province, and there you go.
Yeah, he can occupy 1 province.
Because every province worth 1 score. No,
yeah,
it's quite a lot, because the countries are so tiny for their respective strength. You don't usually have a 20 dev average. Well, I mean, late game our countries typically have.
Most countries are more than 20 average in Europe.
No. Well-managed countries end up with more. But not all the countries have more than 20.
In theory, you should have a 20 average.
In theory, you should have, yeah. Yeah, I was actually thinking about that since there's a lull in the action. About the discussion we had about developing where you want to prioritize the manpower development. And so my thought was, you want to prioritize in woods and hills, and of course grain provinces, the manpower.
Yeah.
Because
grain is always the top priority.
In grain, it's fairly obvious, but because in the other provinces you only have a limited amount of buildings, so you're never building a temple in those ones. Whereas in flatlands, you're always building the temple, so it's better there to use your
temple if you don't have marketplaces or forts. Yeah.
Well, marketplaces, okay, but
marketplaces are really good buildings. I'm not joking.
No, really I agree. But what I was going to say is, that does make sense partly, but it makes sense if you think about it economically, right? It's the best economic solution. But on the other hand, it means you're going to lose a bit of your manpower or your military points because you're developing inefficiently,
with,
right? So maybe it's best to just say, no, fuck it, we're using base tax or admin power and increasing tax. We're not building a building. It doesn't matter. We're sacking the eco, but we're getting a little bit more manpower. Like that could actually be when you think about what your country ends up like. We build a regiment camp in every single province, no matter what. Then we build forts where you need to build forts. Then third priority is barracks.
Yeah.
And then fourth is manufactories, fifth is production, and then there's taxes. Sometimes taxes have priority over, like, very exceptionally, but basically never over the rest.
I had a province in Ireland last campaign which has 16 tax debt and 1 power debt. So
like sometimes it does happen.
Barracks.
But with that setup, I don't know where was I going with this?
Yeah, basically you're suggesting that it makes more sense to dev manpower in flatlands where it's cheaper to dev.
Yeah, even though you're losing out on temple efficiency, as it were.
Well,
that's my point. We're building the Rax building, even on provinces that are like uber late game, right? Admittedly, that are like 5-5-1, right? So if we're going that far with our manpower logic, and I'm gonna quickly interrupt, or I'm gonna go back to the watching.
We should pause with this discussion because they're moving now.
If we're going that far, though, we should probably just always dev manpower where it's more efficient or less costly. Okay, he's attacking though. He doesn't have full moral.
Okay, same day. Okay, so
same day Berlin. It's -1. This is really good for Berlin.
Yeah, but where is Alex's reinforcements?
Why is he trying to catch him in Würzburg? Doesn't. Okay, he's. As long as he reinforces, this is really good for him.
As long as he reinforces this battle correctly, he will win it easily. But where are the reinforcements? They're not moving. Reinforcements up north need to start moving, and this stack in Oberpfalz. Yeah, so like what DonCamillo is doing, we consider it to be a terrible strategy. But if your opponent is playing like this, where they're not moving their armies, it works. Okay. So you have to punish your opponent for making mistakes like this by piling on the entire army early. And the way to punish that is to reinforce on time. Well, this is a bit early, but okay, the idea is there. You kind of want to reinforce. Okay, he cancelled it. Maybe he's sniping the stream, but he has to go soon. He's not force marching. Yeah, okay, this is good.
Yeah.
And his 82k is coming down south now, so this looks like an easy battle as long as he reinforces correctly after this. This 52k needs to start moving soon.
So we can see that...
move pronto. Come on, Alex.
He needs to force march, actually, because he already has cannons, so the cannons are going to start taking over. Okay, I think he makes it on time.
This is way too close.
So it's...
force march. Oh, holy shit, this is way too close. 3 Jan. What's the roll? 1 in shock. Okay. I think he makes it. No, his line actually broke. This is why you need force march.
Well, no, this is why you just reinforce on time.
Yes, that too, but...
Okay, he does win the battle, even though he had so much less men, and he has a discipline disadvantage.
Yeah, so again, so this shows...
But -1, though, better general, and defender's advantage, like...
And the fact that his opponent was clumping, exactly.
And
so
clumping.
All of these...
No, I was actually watching, so it is confirmed -0.03 moral a day on the reserves, and that actually ended up, like, the last stack of DonCamillo started the fight with like 8 moral instead of 9 point whatever it was.
Yeah.
So it's not negligible at all, but still,
yeah, of course it is.
Better to be less greedy with your reinforcements than reinforcements poorly.
Yeah, correct. That's
here some will work out, but
clumping, right?
Dear God, it was way too risky.
Yeah, if you're clumping, you're basically taking like -20% moral or something. Like you're fighting as if your army is negative allowed. Basically, that's the malice from clumping.
Okay. That was like a 15 more score battle or something.
Yeah.
10 at least.
10
now he's holding Ansbach, so that's good for him. He took
But
Munster, which is so much more. The forts are now level 4.
Yeah.
Some
he's
of
building
them.
level 8 now. He's building level 8 now.
Some of them.
He's building level 8 now. But what Alex? So the problem with Alex is he took a bit of cannon damage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 34 cannons in Ansbach. So what? He's going to Baden with this half cannon. Yeah, okay. So yeah, like So I think what Alex was doing was almost perfect, except that Wurzburg needed to go earlier. But other than that, that battle was almost perfect, arriving on the same day as the opponent.
They started with... Both of them had 4 cannon stacks, effectively, at the start.
Yeah, but basically you saw that both sides didn't use their 4 cannon stacks. Like, DonCamillo's gameplay is basically, I have a 500k stack and I'll attack you my 500k stack.
Well, that was last battle, but he did do better than that before.
Yeah. Well, DonCamillo took a lot of damage to cannons in that battle since he refused to retreat. So now he's gonna have to regroup his vanguards again. I think he only has 2 vanguards now after this. Well, I mean, this vanguard terminology is not even applicable to DonCamillo. Like, he has 4 vanguards and nothing else.
Yeah.
But you have 4 vanguards and nothing else. There's not much fun calling it a vanguard at that stage.
Okay, the cannon situation pretty bad for...
But okay, DonCamillo is using the what do you call that? Conform to template thing to build more cannons, isn't he? Yeah, he is. I mean, so I don't agree with this because DonCamillo is not using his extra cannons, right? Like, he might as well have had 2 cannon stacks and 2 further stacks.
Well, he's using his cannons as infantry, effectively. So it's just worse. Much better to have infantry. It would be better if he had a single cannon stack and everything in manpower, but
well,
whatever.
Also, DonCamillo has 10.
Meanwhile, Alex is
10,
just taking every...
forts.
He's being allowed to siege just forts, something we have not seen in quite a while.
Yeah.
Right, it's the mythical, you stand on the fort and you siege it. Well, neither of them have, yeah, I mean, whatever. It's just, get on with our life.
Too busy, he says.
Yes, you can clearly see it in the movement of his troops. Okay, but yeah, he does have the better leaders still.
Okay, so let's look at this new position. I think Alex really completely turned it around now, and if things continue to go like this, Alex is really on track to win.
Yeah.
But I say that
still without
Alex...
the discipline advisor, it's just painful, and military focus. Like, they've been so inefficient, both of them, with their military power generation.
Well, it's definitely something they can improve on, I would say, yeah. But yeah, so this is where DonCamillo's level 2 forts, level 4 forts really come to bite him in the ass. Where if he had level 8 forts here, like, his opponent would not be able to stand on top of it and get them this fast. And now that I don't understand this fort in Augsburg at all, by the way. Like, what is it supposed to do? It does absolutely nothing.
Did he not just build that one? That one was built fairly recently.
Ah, right. So he should just delete it because this fort is just gonna give Alex more score.
Yeah.
Like, Alex just sieges this. You literally can't do anything about it.
Now, Alex is not moving anymore.
I mean, he
still needs to win battles, but I agree that it's for his position. It's better just to wait, force the opponent to take an offensive fight like he did last time.
Yeah.
And just defend that.
Well, the thing here
he's
is
completely out of manpower though, and he's
still taking attrition on 3
So
stacks.
he's taking attrition on all of his cannons.
Ansbach as well, but hopefully those are just mercs. Otherwise, that would be.
Oh, he kept these Jolsties alive. It looks like, instead of consolidating them. So a typical noob trap.
Wait, so his Jolsties are where? I don't.
His Jolsties are in Prague. Okay, his movement from DonCamillo, and he also has one cannon stack next to the fort that, or not cannon, infantry stack that is not consolidated.
So will Alex be ready to defend in Baden? It is a river crossing, so -1 to dice rolls here.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Alex has to react really fast. It's a level 2 fort, 1,700 garrison.
Yeah. He could have already been assaulted.
It would already be assaulted if with this reaction timing. Like this is not fast enough. Oh, this is.
Ooh,
same day
why?
again.
Just go to Baden. Just go to Baden.
Just fight one battle in Baden. Let's see it.
He needs to go now, though. He needs to go now because level 2 fort.
Exactly. Why isn't he going?
Ew.
Like, what? Water shortage?
So lucky.
Here's the queue to go. Excuse me, Mr. Alex.
Yeah.
Okay, where are the reinforcements? They're not moving. Okay, reinforcements.
Third cannon stack, which is the Sentinel here, is standing in Wurzburg instead of in Oberschwaben or Württemberg, wherever.
But no, do not attack in Alsace. He arrives late as well. That's kind of bad, but
Yeah,
he can't.
And there we go. As I said, no sentinel position. Automatically your reinforcements get wiped. Now he's losing all 3 battles. Wait, he's actually winning in Alsace. What the fuck? Okay, here we go. I guess he got really lucky on the dices, but
well, his opponent rolled 90 fire now, so that's not happening anymore. But okay, he wins in Baden. His opponent,
okay, he did manage to win in Baden.
Why did he run? Why does he run? What? Oh my god, why?
Yeah, probably made a mistake.
That was a very, very terrible mistake because his opponent's front line broke and was taking cannon casualties.
Yeah, he would have won that 100%.
Yeah. Oh, oof. Now that's really painful. And so let's sum up the tactical mistakes of that battle. First thing, no sentinel, and commando went to take a questionable fight, right? So these are not the fights you want to take with your commando. Faults to Alsace, very questionable. Like I wouldn't have gone for that.
Yeah.
And no sentinel in Württemberg again, kind of mistake. Maybe he thought that his enemy can't path to it, but that is not true.
Yeah.
His enemy can path to it because it's a fort in Sundgau. So yeah, like you always have to be careful about these kind of things. So that's the first thing. Second thing, why does he have 70k standing in Bohemia? When you take a battle, battles are taken by your entire army. You do not have 70k standing halfway across the world because they do absolutely nothing. Like imagine you have a 600k army. You want all 600k in the battle. If you have 200k halfway across the world, you basically have a 400k army, right? These guys don't do anything, so like you have to remember to move your entire army to reinforce key battles. Especially this one, like if Alex won that battle, like I think he wins the war, like straight up wins the war. Because that battle gives another 10 war score, then he takes Sundgau, Augsburg, maybe even Metz, and you control like 1/3 of your opponent's country. That's enough to win the war.
Yeah.
So that was an absolutely crucial battle. In fact, almost all battles on forts are absolutely crucial. Battles where both sides commit hard are absolutely crucial. And you have to commit with your entire army. Otherwise, you're just basically fighting with less than your entire army.
Yeah. You know,
okay, let's
I
look
think
at regrouping again.
to go back to the commando point where I want to explore it a bit more, and I think it's fairly well explained in Serenade's guide, is you typically do not want to use the commando to take a secondary battle. You want to pick off reinforcements if possible, not to take a secondary battle, especially not if you're the defender. The one case, or there are multiple cases, but the one prominent case where the commando wants to take a battle is when the main battle is not to your advantage because you have a general disadvantage, but the commando's general is better than your opponent's commando general. Then taking a second battle is in your favor because then suddenly you have one battle, the main battle, which is not in your favor. You have a second battle where you have a general advantage. So that's like one of the scenarios where you want to take that second battle. The other case in general is you want to cut off reinforcements to make sure that you win the main battle, but that's not always possible. And here this was definitely not a thing because they were always paths. They would always be paths where the opponent could reinforce from. Though I suppose if the sentinel was placed in Oberschwaben, you could have gone to Breslau into Songdao to prevent reinforcements, but then you're taking like 2 very bad fights at the same time. It's not going to be reinforceable.
He says who, but he's only got 10 forts, right?
Yeah. Okay, he still that force march every time. Like look at Mainz, that should be a wipe.
Oh well.
But we're what, like 6 years in, and it's still the same front because no one knows how to take advantage of victories.
No. Well, you're too harsh on these people because these people are not at the level where they should be thinking of how do I win a war yet. What they should be thinking of is how can I gain a tactical advantage, and by accumulating tactical advantages, gain an advantage.
There you go.
Yeah, this is a good battle, but he doesn't have to.
He doesn't force march though.
Same day, so he gets there. But
he's not going to be a wipe.
The problem is he does not have the reinforcements to wipe. Okay, so Alex needs to understand stack wipes, but that's not explained in my guide. But this is a battle you don't want to commit to. Okay, he gets the war.
No, because all the DonCamillo troops were super low moral, so as long as you get to reinforce, you're going to make it. But he's not going to make it, though. Is he? Well, he sends in the other one, so it's fine, I guess.
This is good. This is kind of good. Yeah, this is very good. Okay, so now this guy is gonna catch. Yep.
In Heidelberg, they arrived before, so that's fine.
Yeah, so that's very good.
He's still gonna lose because he doesn't have enough.
Again, with this problem that Alex has more than 100k standing at home. Okay, there's 29k cannons, but what about all these other infantry? They need to have been moving before you plan to take the battle. Before you plan to attack in mines, your infantry have to start moving towards the front.
Oh, she lost 2, and now...
Now DonCamillo is gonna take...
Yeah, we're back to ticking.
Yeah, okay, so DonCamillo is gonna tick to 50 if he steps on some provinces, which is not gonna be a problem.
Yeah. He could be assaulting right now, Thuringen and Oberschlotz, and... Well, now, Alex did retreat to Leipzig with the other guys are just forced shattering retreating, but he did retreat to Leipzig, which is a fine position to retreat to. Just one behind the Thuringen thing.
Nobility sees power. Okay, so that engagement, a few mistakes. The first mistake is not having enough troops on your vanguard to wipe. It would have been a wipe if he had enough troops on the vanguard. So that would have been an easy battle. Wipe the first vanguard, receive the second vanguard. An excellent battle, right? That would have been excellent for him.
Yeah, it was not just because there were not enough men. It was also because there was no forced march. Because if there was forced march, it's 3 more days of casualties, which could kill sufficient to get double men.
Yeah, also true. Yeah.
Right.
And then there is he deletes.
He really likes that Augsburg fort. That fort is crucial.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
You don't need that Breda fort. That fort is not important.
Yeah, we don't need this woods fort in Albertraben. Instead, we will have a farmland fort in the corner of my country which has 0 zone of control uses. But I mean that's
well, he panicked because he had no time. He had to delete that fort ASAP.
Yeah, whatever. Like assume it's on me, okay, whatever. But then back to what we're talking about, Alex's situation. Even then, when we said that he arrives late, does not have enough reinforcements to wipe immediately. Even then, it was not a terrible battle. Because DonCamillo's troops were not in position to reinforce, he caught a very big stack on the defensive battle, so that's very good. But his reinforcements were not on the way to reinforce. And as a result of that, he was unable to capitalize on what would have been an okay battle, or like at least a winning battle, even if it's not an excellent one.
Yeah.
So I think this is kind of a recurring theme. Like every time we see people play, this always happens. Reinforcements always have to move from the back. You have to start moving before your vanguard moves. Otherwise, these reinforcements never arrive on time, as we have seen so many times already.
People are just not used to fighting the late game wars, where this is... It's just muscle memory. You need to know, and you know that if you don't do this, you're always arriving too late. Right? But to give people breaks, both me and you have arrived our fair share of time too late, and now, because of this, hopefully we don't arrive too late anymore. At least for myself, I very seldom arrive too late. Yeah. Serenade,
sometimes
still needs to improve.
I still do that once or twice at the start when I'm not in the zone yet. But later on, almost always arrive on time.
Because especially the thing to consider is when we do arrive too late, is because there's like 4 battles going on. You have to reinforce every single one, and it's impossible. And it's sometimes then you're just like, okay, this battle is lost, and I retreat. And it's very bad because as soon as you lose one of the battles, then there's a moral advantage for the opponent who can then win the other battles. It's like a domino effect, so it's very, very bad when that happens. But it's understandable. Whereas here, you just
it's one battle.
window everything. It's like so easy.
Focus on the one battle.
You focus on one battle. You window every reinforcement stack. You just send them to the province you reinforce from, where your sentinel is. And either you say, "Fuck the attrition, doesn't matter," or you just say, "Okay, when my troops arrive, then I start dividing them neatly." But then I've already sent in like 4 stacks, because if you just send in your troops, you'll realize that there's already like 4 stacks that are in. In fact, what I prefer doing...
all of this is written in my guide, by the way, so just read that for more information. So basically what Alex is doing now is good. Like, reinforcements start moving first, and then your Vanguard goes. So Vanguard should go soon, because...
He needs to go, though, because it's 7%, it's half moral. Every stack has so little moral.
Yo, why do you cancel?
He cannot lose this battle if he just takes it.
That's so terrible. Like, lose tells orange. Oh, disease outbreak. This is the time to go.
Yeah.
Disease outbreak is excellent. DonCamillo has to consolidate cannons. Okay, he doesn't consolidate cannons, so that's really bad. But Brunswick, just stay put. Don't be too aggressive. No. Don't be too aggressive here. Same day, so he gets the attack in. This is not what you want to do with your commando, though. Okay. Anyway, it's fine. It's fine. Focus.
He needs to reinforce. Okay, he's reinforcing in much better timing this time.
The thing with this secondary battle
is reinforcing the second battle as well. He also was in position for that with his reinforcements.
Yeah, exactly. So this is very good. So this secondary battle...
wait. Did that army retreat to... Okay, no, he was in movement. Yeah, okay, fine.
So we're screaming that this battle has no, this is not what you want to do. But actually, on hindsight, it's not that terrible, because he's using a 6-3 general, whereas his opponent is using a 4-4 general. So even despite the terrain disadvantage, it kind of makes sense. Like, I mean, I still wouldn't have done it, but it's not terrible. Like, it's okay.
To be fair, like, it could have been better than even the main battle then.
Possibly, yeah. But I would still go into the main battle.
Yeah. It's just, you can't expect that. Here it happens to work out because there's a 4-4-4, but there should never be a 4-4-4 on that stack. And you can't always just, like, look at the generals at all times. His opponent
has a terrible general. That attack was not that terrible because he has a big general advantage. So I think that was still
Baden, that's really good for him. Ansbach falls once again, and still at minus.
Now he needs to get Sungao if he can. Sungao is such an important province.
It's only level 4 forward, so he could just go at it and assault before the opponent arrives.
Snap assault. If you get Sungao, Baden, you control this entire southern part of the country, and then you can assault Augsburg at your own leisure. Like siege, not assault.
Problem though is he's not in position to reinforce. If DonCamillo were in position and just jumps on the assault, or even after the assault, it's not guaranteed that because he's not in position he wouldn't arrive. Like, these reinforcement stacks, they should be pocketed by the cannon stacks. Like, you should be closer to the action.
I'm gonna pause.
Why?
Because Alex is a few days behind.
Oh. Yeah. As always, we see like something that's very true, which is when players have less of an idea of how to wage war, the wars are always so long.
They drag,
and they are such a, like, even though here they're not an expense on the economy because everyone has great economies, and they actually only now are under 400k when we but we are like at 400 at the start of the war.
Yeah. Well,
slightly more, but
the main problem here is that so first thing, DonCamillo won the war, but he decided to step on a province that gave his opponent a super good battle, right? And by doing so, he throws the war, right? Like, I have a winning position, but I give myself an excellent battle that makes me lose the war. Why do that? There's no need for that. And it remains to be seen whether Alex is going to assault Sungao or be lucky in Sungao. Like, he needs to at least breach this. But DonCamillo is not making a move to defend it. I'm not sure why either, but it remains to be seen. Basically, what Alex really needs to do now is to not throw the war. because remember, DonCamillo still has 19 from battles. Okay, so Alex makes one mistake and he is immediately in danger of getting stabbed. Whereas DonCamillo can, if he loses the next engagement, he will be in trouble, but he is still not in stab hit range yet, I think.
Okay. Now both of them should have the tech now, actually, but
neither of them do apparently.
Yeah, they're so inefficient with their military points.
Why retreat from Alsace? That's attack in. I don't know. Why retreat from Alsace? That was okay. I can understand why that's not such a good position.
But I don't know. I like that position. You could stand in Pfalz, Alsace, and then you just occupy everything here behind. Okay.
Whoa! Attack in Sungao.
He needs to reinforce really though.
Attack in Alsace is why's here? Don't run. Just just reinforce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pfalz too. Yeah.
So this stack in Pfalz,
definitely not yet go to Metz, but you can think about it later.
I think Baden. Yeah, I don't think DonCamillo can go to Brisgau.
It's -2 in Sungao, so you just reinforce that 100%.
Yeah, of course.
He needs to go now, though.
Okay, this is another one of these battles where it's 5-5 versus 4-5. Not such a huge advantage. But yeah, I think it's easy as long as Alex reinforces everything in Sungao, because it's -2 in Sungao.
It's plus. He has like +2 effectively.
5-5 here, 6-3. Where is the 6-4 for Alex in Sungao?
He's behind. He's the one doing nothing.
Yeah, so again, best general on the vanguard, right? Best general takes the main. Oh, this is a bit risky. Is he gonna arrive on time?
You're right.
Yeah, okay, he goes in.
Basically on time.
Yeah, okay, that's really good. He has 34k reserves. Yeah, okay, so
so he wins both battles.
Yeah, he wins both battles now. Yeah, so that was pretty good from. Oh wow, 28k cannon losses. Yeah, look at these casualties in Sungao. Amsterdam, 100k infantry, 28k cannons. Berlin, 84k infantry. Okay.
Yeah.
So that is -2 dice rolls for you and defender tile bonus.
Yeah. Plus better general.
Fire. Yeah, and -1 fire. Yeah. So this is why you don't take -2 fights.
This is also why when someone gives you a -2 fight, you only take
it. Yes.
The -2
you only
fight.
take this fight. You do not attack in Alsace for no good reason. What? No, it's not GG. You still have positive war score from battles.
He still has so many military points. Like he can easily get a lot more men.
He has 4 cannon stacks still. But okay, I think
he spent every single manpower on camp. Is what happened, even though they only were used as infantry.
Well, I think going for Metz is a good idea here, but he shouldn't push too far. Like he should get Pfalz, occupy, like unsiege his lands, siege up some of these unfortified lands, and go get Augsburg. I think that should be the play here for Alex.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think overall Alex has adapted much better for his
use manpower.
I think overall Alex is playing a lot better later on, because once he fixed the problem of reinforcements not arriving on time, he seems to overall pick much better engagements.
Well,
and he gets much more out of it.
You know, he fixed the policies, he fixed the icon. He did not fix the advisor. Okay, he actually has the +5 discipline. Yes. Finally, we made it.
It's a matter of time before he realizes.
So once he fixes that makes such a huge difference. He can actually win fights somewhat decently.
Maybe that's why he's reinforcing too slowly, because he thinks quality should be equal, but actually
he was still reinforcing too slowly, even with equal quality.
True. But still, once he starts reinforcing on time, you can see very clearly what DonCamillo is doing here.
Yeah, but I think he still reinforces too late, even now. He doesn't reinforce too late.
He's super
because he's being given every single time good defensive battles where he's taking less casualty than what he should, and because DonCamillo is not using the best general. DonCamillo clearly not only is his generals not good enough, but he doesn't have a 6 fire. He finally has
He's
a
not
6
rolling
fire
now.
general because he was not rolling enough.
Yeah.
And he didn't use
Okay.
any extra manpower.
So Alex has 2 6 fires, and these were from really long ago, I think. 3 6 fires now. Oof. Yeah. So that's pretty good. But again, Alex is 110k sitting here in Bavaria, and let's hope this doesn't bite him in the ass later on. Also, this Barra siege, very ambitious. Like, Defender dessert now, like...
Yeah. If
DonCamillo's
DonCamillo
not
reacted
at
instead
all.
of being discouraged, he can take a -1
he
or
can
like
take
a
an excellent
+1
back. I
fight.
think it's -2. It's +2. It's -2. Yeah, river cross. Oh, but he
Yeah,
doesn't
but
have
six
no, he doesn't have a 6
maneuver. So.
No, he has a 556. He has a 556. So if he uses a 556, this is an excellent battle. You have equal fire and +2 shock.
You don't actually have equal fire because the +1 maneuver, it's only minus, like the terrain modifier does not affect both your offensive and your defensive dices, if you're following me.
Isn't
not
it just
following me.
-1? Like,
No.
it -1 to the other guy, right? So the other guy...
It's -1 to the other
5-2.
guy, but you're not getting +1 to your offensive.
Ah, yeah, okay.
So it's not as good as a fire.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Alright, he has Force March in his vanguards, taking a battle Nassau, definitely not what you want. Why would you, like, this is a real question. Why do you try and take the fight in Nassau instead of going to Barrois? Right? Why do you think that? Is it like because that stack seems to be isolated, whereas the rest seems to be collectively together? But that makes like zero difference.
But is he gonna catch the reinforcements? He's trying to catch the reinforcements, and I think he will. Oh, he caught the vanguard. That's pretty bad. Okay, that's not ideal. 6-4 versus 5-5. Okay.
Oh, Alex is gonna win these fights because he has.
He's gonna win both. Yeah, he's gonna win both. Definitely.
A bit more men, I guess.
Equal generals in Nassau, but terrain. But yeah, you can already see he has a lot more troops here. Yeah, because several things, I guess. So DonCamillo takes these bad battles where he always loses, and he clumps. So he just and the most important thing actually, one very basic thing that we haven't mentioned all the time is that DonCamillo keeps taking unnecessary cannon damage. So in this battle, yeah, you can already see it. He took like 10k. Okay, like we didn't talk about this all game, but DonCamillo, also Alex to some extent, they both take very unnecessary cannon damage when the fight is already lost because your front line is broken, your opponent's front line is intact. And when this happens, you have to retreat because cannons on the front line take fuckloads of damage.
Well, here DonCamillo takes cannon damage simply because he uses his cannons as infantry because he reinforces with the second cannon stack. So it's not because his backline breaks. It's also eventually down the line because his backline breaks, but it's mostly because he has cannons on the front.
Sure, I can understand that, but if you treat your cannons as infantry, then surely you consolidate the cannons and build actual infantry instead of building more cannons, which just are worse than infantry, right?
Like, I agree, but
he's not going to send a peace deal.
It doesn't matter. Like the war is done.
Fine. Okay,
we're gonna go back to some main shit.
So I guess you talk first. I'll go get water.
Oh, is that how it is?
Yeah,
hello.
Hello. No, this is German territory.
This is German territory? Alright, you're from Germany, yeah, Alex?
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna try to go through the war, what was going on and such.
They just shit talk you all the time.
They shit talked me, who? Oh, we did them on stream. It's true, it's true.
Like I said, it was a clone fiesta.
It was a clone fiesta. It is.
Well, you say that, but I think this war raises a lot of points, which I think both of you can improve on.
Yes.
And it's not even very fancy stuff. It's like very basic stuff that's like simple application will improve your gameplay tremendously.
Yeah. It actually, most of the things you can read in Serenade's guide, let's go shoof that war deal.
So most of the things that we're gonna say is already covered in the guide, but we're still gonna say it again because like it's more specific to the situation and you can feel it because you know exactly why and what we're talking about. So I guess let's first talk about DonCamillo because loser. So we talk about you first.
The privilege.
Yeah. So I think okay. So first we're gonna talk about setup. So your army. So by setup we mean like composition of your army and like your starting strength. Okay. So the first thing we notice is, do you have mill focus? I think I don't recall. Mill focus.
No. Okay, I'll go through the setup. So typically you want to have 1.3 million men at the start.
Ideally.
Which is
perfect setup.
Everything recruited plus your 100k bank of manpower, and you started the war with 600. And you had, now to be fair, you had like 300 manpower in reserve and a lot of military points. So you were not optimal. Like, could definitely have been improved. But it wasn't a question of you doing things really poorly. It was more a question of just you not using the resources at hand to start stronger when you definitely want to start the war as strong as possible, right? Because it allows you to push. But actually, we're going to see later on that was also a problem. But the thing, though, which was a real problem for you, is you had no military point generation because you did not have military focus on, and you had only a +1 advisor instead of trying to get an advisor that you can promote to +5. So every month you lost 6. You lost a whopping 6 military points per month. And
yes, more generals too.
At this point, you could have had so much more manpower or so much more tech, anything. You could have rolled more generals.
Also didn't do the professionalism thing.
Yeah, like, okay, so the thing here is I don't think you're appreciating why military points are so good, and we're gonna tell you what it means.
No, I get it. I totally forgot to develop.
Okay. Well, no, it's not about development at all. Like, okay, so what do you do with military points? The first thing you can do with military points is, obviously, get tech and ideas, right? So having better tech and ideas than your opponent equals having an advantage. And having more millpower generation means you get it faster, right? So that's the most obvious advantage. But the other things, which are maybe even more important, is, first thing, roll generals. More millpower equals rolling more generals, and over the course of a war means better generals than your opponent. And this is one of the easiest ways to get a huge advantage over your opponent. Like, throughout this entire war, you didn't field a single 6-fire general, yeah? Like, I don't see you with a 6-fire general, right?
He had one.
If you have, I mean, I don't see him using it.
He had one super late, but he didn't use it, yeah.
Yeah, because he had 3 shock.
I mean, it's better than this 4-5. But
I was mostly using a 5-5 general.
It's still better than a 5-5, I think. But my point is that if you had rolled more, maybe you would have a 6-4, like what Alex had, or even a 6-5 or a 6-6, Or even if you had like multiple 6-5s, choose the one with the better trait, Which is quite a common theme in late game wars, where both sides try to amp up their generals and like keep cycling through their generals to try to get one with a better trait. And also, extremely importantly, is hire 5 generals at a time to get professionalism and refund the professionalism for manpower. So this interaction gives you 100k manpower, more than that at this stage.
I think I kind of misused this because I was rolling generals and then I immediately was merking up.
Recruiting mercs, yeah, exactly. So
you need to recruit them in batches of 5.
Yeah, exactly. So you recruit generals in groups of 5. So you immediately generate 5 professionalism and you second. So you do not forget to use your remaining professionalism. If you recruit generals like separately, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's more likely that you will waste professionalism by hiring mercs. So yeah, I pretty much recommend raising generals in batches of 5 so that you don't waste the professionalism.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's.
But you need to watch out that you're not recruiting any mercenaries while you're doing it, because the mercenaries give 0.5 minus 0.5 when they appear, when they spawn. Yeah. And not when you press recruit on them. I did that mistake.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the other thing about DonCamillo's setup, I feel, which is also a pretty big problem, which is that the entire war you're playing with 4 gigantic stacks, right? Like the entire war, you have 4 huge stacks of like 150k, each stack with 100k infantry and 40k cannons. I would say it's so that in itself is not bad, but in the way that you're playing this, it turns out to be quite bad, because what you're doing is you're taking 1 to 2 big battles. And with 4 cannon stacks, if you take 1 to 2 big battles, your cannons in your other stacks are basically infantry. They're not playing any role other than infantry, but they're worse than infantry because they take double damage. Right, so if you're gonna play in this way, where you specifically aim to take 1 to 2 massive battles, you don't want so many cannons. You want to have more infantry, because those are actually going to help you win these battles. If you have 4 cannon stacks, what you want to do is you try to take 4 battles if you think your opponent isn't capable of handling that. Or you take 3 battles and you siege a province, assault the province while 3 battles are happening. That would be kind of the play you want to make with 4 cannon stacks. But basically what we observe you doing is you choose a battle and you just move your entire army into this battle. But if you're going to do that, you might as well have 1 cannon stack and a lot of infantry. That's just going to be more effective.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, basically, it's more important to have reinforcement stacks than more cannon stacks. Like, the reinforcement stacks are the bread and butter of EU4 warfare.
Yeah. So the first problem with that is the way you play with 4 cannon stacks is not, like, you're not doing 4 cannon stacks correctly, and the way you're playing is better to have 2 cannon stacks. And the other thing is clumping. Like, so basically what you usually just do is, okay, I will just select my entire army and reinforce the battle. So it worked out at first for other reasons, which are mostly Alex's mistakes rather than this strategy being good. But in the end, you can clearly see, once Alex got his shit together and stopped making mistakes, it was not a good strategy.
But he got a bunch of reinforcement stacks. I was like, oh shit, I'm going to lose this battle because they keep reinforcing and getting...
Yeah, exactly. So why don't you do the same? Like, instead of having a 500k ball, which is kind of what you're doing, not exactly, but that's kind of what you're doing.
At the point when I realized this, it was already a bit too late, because I couldn't recruit more mercs. And I had these 4 giant stacks, and I was kind of running out of manpower. So I was do I invest in regulars, or...
Well, then you should split them up, right? If you split them up, then you're gonna take less attrition, you'll regenerate more manpower, and your battles will be more effective. Like, if you have 100k vanguards and a lot of 40k reinforcements, this is gonna, if you can get all your reinforcements into the battle, this is strictly better than a 300k ball.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing that, but then Alex kept pressuring me, and I couldn't just do it.
Yeah, true. It's quite difficult to reorganize your army when your opponent's pushing you, but I mean, that's because you built level 2 forts, right? You should just build level 8 forts. I mean...
Yeah. Another thing I want to talk about is force march. You need to remember, after a battle, to remove force march to let your stacks regen.
Yeah, that was...
Like, often your troops... I think you lost quite a lot of battles just because you didn't start with full moral.
Yeah. So I think overall, so is that mostly it?
I don't know, I just thought of something else, but I don't remember what it is, but...
I think that's mostly it for DonCamillo.
Oh, no, this is important. You are taking... this actually is a point that's for both sides, valid for both sides. Both of you, when you're given the option of taking a defensive fight, seem to shy away from it. And then when you do take that defensive fight, you seem obsessed with taking another fight that is offensive, where you have a disadvantage instead of just reinforcing the defensive fight. So we saw this multiple times. Someone gave the other one a terrain penalty of 1 and the hidden defender's advantage. And instead of just reinforcing that battle that is ridiculously to your advantage, like in wars between 2 really skilled players, people never let the other player have a -1 battle. Like, that doesn't happen because you're sure to lose that battle.
Yeah.
And you guys kept trying to attack with that second, effectively use a commando, but the commando should not take a second fight if that first fight is so good.
Yeah, so the best example is in Sungao, but you also see it later in other places like
it was in Ansbach. It happened.
Yeah, I mean, there's several instances. Yeah, but you can watch the footage where every time it happens, we'll mention it. Where we say that Alex is gonna take a second. Actually, it's mostly Alex. Like Alex is gonna take a second battle, but he should just reinforce the first battle. I think
it's mostly Alex, you would think, but it's the reason why DonCamillo is giving Alex these opportunities is also because he's going on the offensive and underestimating the defender's advantage.
Yeah,
right. Like it's really crucial to understand, and the terrain is just the tile advantage of being the defender is absolutely massive. It cannot be underestimated.
It's very strong.
You cannot go on the offensive unless either your generals are much better, or you have like a massive quality disadvantage, which is not the case in the equal scenario, or you have a lot more men, which again is not the case. So when you're fighting in these conditions, you never take like -1 offensive fights unless you have a general disadvantage. You really need to try and force your opponent to take offensive fights by playing tactically and strategically around that. But of course, like as of right now, the mistakes are more basic, and so we can't. I can't really like comment and say you need to consolidate every fight. You need to recruit your mercs really quickly. You need to stack split like more effective, because right now the mistakes are more basic in terms of when not to attack, when to attack, make sure to attack, split, don't make cannons you can't use, etc. Yeah. So I think that is actually really important. It's just when you're given a defensive fight, you take, and you don't try anything fancy. I'm going to transition this way to Alex. I think your reaction, it really surprised both Serenade and me, is often DonCamillo was sieging your lands. He stood on one of your forts. You were sort of grouping up next to it, but not really. And then instead of just taking that fight, you send one cannon stack up north or down south, depending on the opposite side, with 2 reinforcement stacks. And we're just like, what does that do? What does that accomplish?
Yeah.
You're taking a risk by sending those, because those can be easily picked off. And if he does fight you there, you're giving him a defensive fight, whereas you already have access to a defensive fight. Every defensive fight should always be taken, sort of almost thoughtlessly, regardless of circumstance. Almost, yeah. No, but it's true. Like every time someone walks onto one of your forts, you take that battle. Right, you need to be in position before, right? And that's another point with Alex, which was at the start of the war, your reinforcements were never in position when you did take a fight, and so your reinforcements would always arrive too late. Later on in the war, that improved tremendously, where you first sent your reinforcements and then took the battle, and then it's easy reinforcement because they're already, close enough.
Already nearby. Yeah, exactly.
They're already nearby.
So that battle in Thüringen at the end, I was quite impressed because Alex started moving reinforcements first, and then they're in position, and then the vanguard goes. So that was an excellent application of that idea. But in that same battle, we saw instead of reinforcing Thüringen, you started attacking Castle. Somewhat more questionable, but okay.
Yeah.
But yeah,
of course, the biggest problem with Alex is it took you so long to get like every quality advantage, the policies, the icon, and then eventually at the total end of the war, the discipline advisor.
Yeah, I fucked it up.
Yeah,
really bad.
But still, you would imagine it was utter disaster at the start of the war. You lost so many big battles. You were so behind. But eventually you do come back because it's mercs versus mercs, and there's the way to think about it, right? This I think is a good point. Is the early game battles that were so to your disadvantage because you had the massive quality disadvantage. At the end of the war, it became the opposite because DonCamillo was taking constantly offensive battles, and the offensive battles are not quite as bad as like all the policies plus the advisor and stuff, but they're significantly bad that you have such a big quality advantage that you can just take every single battle as long as you're taking them defensively. Yeah.
But yeah, so I think so I think on Alex's side, so the main thing, I think, obviously the lack of policies until really late. Like this is really important actually, and you should always remember before a war, remember the things you need to activate before the war. Like policies, the religion, the advisor, the general, these things are all basic stuff that you have to remember, because failing to do this just basically it's basically like I have Tuscan ideas and I'm fighting against my opponent with Prussian ideas. It's basically that. Like the difference is really massive if you have no policies, no general. Like at the start of the war, you were down 15 discipline and like 1 whole morale point, you know, like, and 20 infantry combat, 10 RT combat, all these stuff. So it
was winning so easily.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
Just make a checklist that's next to you. It has everything like 1, 2, because there's a lot of things to remember. Like in this save, there's so many things that are min-maxable. Like if you make a list, there's like 15, 20 elements that you need to remember. No one remembers everything, but if you have the checklist, then you can just look at it and be like, okay, this. There you go. I remember everything. It's fine. Yeah.
So
now I do want to give some advice, like in general, because we didn't really get to see more like tactical applications, more advanced tactics, logistics come into play and stuff like this. But one thing I do want to stress, besides working on the general stuff you need to make sure that you do correctly, which is positioning your army before you take an engagement, splitting them up, manpower, not making too many cannons if you're not using them, making sure your best generals are in the fight, and so on and so on. What you need to also learn is how do you win a war just from scratch? Like, what is your overall strategy to win a war? And the main thing here is after every fight that's being won by one or the other party, almost nothing gets accomplished. Right? There's the front was the same for 7 years or something, despite having been many back and forth battles. Right? After you win a battle, every time you need to push, whether it is just advancing one province and not taking any forts, but at least advancing territory-wise so that your troops are in a better position. But preferably, you need to assault a fort. Now, I think Alex did this like to some extent, but it needs to be more efficient. Every time you win a battle, or when you realize you're going to win a battle, if you have an available commando, you need to instantly move out, go assault that fort as soon as possible, consolidate, recruit your mercs, and be in position. I think one of the biggest thing is sometimes you went out to siege, which worked because they were level 2 or level 4 or level 6 forts. Of course, with level 8 forts, it never happens. But your reinforcement stacks were not coming along, right? You need to send everything along. Every battle that you win needs to move. This is how you visualize it. It's like a chessboard. Everything needs to move one tile.
No, it's not a chessboard.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. You have tiles, and you need to move one tile ahead with every piece. Not just the vanguards, not just the cannon stacks.
No, it's more like an RTS, but not in the same way. Like, it's basically what you need to do is you need to visualize your army, your entire army, as one thing. Okay? Like one thing that works together and fights together in one single battle. And this single battle is not referring to the in-game battle, but a series of engagement that revolves around the main battle. So like, for example, the main battle is happening in Mainz, but we want to take some secondary engagement nearby. This whole thing, I call it one battle. But the crucial thing to know is that your entire army works together to win this engagement. And so to do so, your entire army must always be in its correct position. Your cannon stacks must always be positioned correctly to accomplish your objectives. your reinforcement stacks must always be in a position to reinforce. And I think we said this several times, but mostly Alex, well, only Alex, because this doesn't apply to DonCamillo. But Alex always has some random infantry stack in Bohemia doing nothing, whereas they could have been more helpful in the battle. You know, like they could have turned a losing battle into a winning battle by simply like being closer and be in a position to reinforce. And maybe you didn't have the visualization that your entire army is one thing. So you think that, oh, my cannon stack is this thing that wants to do this infantry stack wants to do this. But no, what you need to think of is your entire army moves along together as one thing to take one battle.
Yeah. I like that metaphor, the idea of saying your entire army moves as one, and it's all about winning the engagement, which is typically the main battle, right? But because the thing is, when you're following that logic, you only take a secondary battle if it's necessary to win the entire engagement.
Yeah.
Exactly, I like that. Right, because that way you're like, okay, clearly I only take a main battle if I can win it. First of all, right, that's important. You can only take a main battle if you can win it, and you need to identify whether or not the conditions are right. And then you only take a secondary battle because if you identify that you can win the main battle, you just need to reinforce that battle. You only take a second battle if you're the defender. And you realize, wait, I'm going to lose here, so I need to take and the secondary battle is going to mitigate that to some extent or somehow, or I'm purely desperate. I mean, sometimes that happens too.
It could also be that you're winning the first battle, and the second battle helps you win harder. I mean, that wouldn't be wrong either.
That is true too, but and typically not, right? Typically not.
Well, not usually that doesn't happen in this scenario because two sides are usually quite equal in strength.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully thinking about your army as one thing helps you with your overall movements, because I think a lot of people, when they play, they just like to play with vanguards, and every battle, my reinforcements are too far away. You know.
It is true. Like we notice that it's a mistake every single time there's a Duel episode. This mistake happens.
It's a recurring theme
on both sides. Yeah. Well, you guys have been very quiet.
Yeah. Well, there isn't really much to say after this, because we kind of figured it out that we kind of figured our mistakes out ourselves.
Okay.
We were just talking like, oh, you did that, or or like,
well, that's good.
We want to pause the game and build up to level 8 forts. Like that's what was something that Alex told me, and I was like, nah, it was my mistake. And just keep on fighting.
Okay. Well, I think overall this is one of the more. This was a kind of exciting war to watch, kind of, because it was a war which went one way and then came back.
Yeah,
that's true. It had up and down.
Turnarounds are always like it was back and forth for quite a long time.
Yeah. And the way to prevent that is by making sure you push after every victory. Well, because else bad wars just extend. Also the second, to come back to the main point, is by having a stronger start, by committing harder at the start and making sure you squeeze every manpower out, you can more easily push for a longer time. So that's the thing. But again, here mostly focus on view your army as one entity. Make sure that your reinforcements make sure that you have reinforcement stacks that are your manpower, at the very least, manpower and reinforcement stacks are behind. And don't commit too much manpower to cannons if you end up using cannons as infantry. Then it's better just to use infantry and have 1 or 2 cannon stacks, because you do need at least minimum of 2.
There's another thing which I forgot whether this thing mentioned, but if you're gonna tick up to 50 war score, you should not push onto enemy forts. Like, there was a point where DonCamillo was gonna, like, you're gonna tick up to 50 war score just by standing on the war.
Actually, he didn't even need to tick. He could have occupied like 1 provinces like
something like
3
that,
or
like,
something, one provinces, and he could have
5 war score missing before I could get.
No. At one point, you were you were 45, yes, but the war goal is gonna tick for 4 more, so you just need to occupy 1 more province.
Yeah,
that's not
like every province is worth 1 war score, so you just occupy random provinces and you get the 50, and then you can stand defensively, force him to move out. Because that's really, like, even if you're standing on 49, he's gonna be nervous and he's gonna try and do something, and then you can take a defensive fight, or at least you can. You have no, like. I think in general it's good to be patient and always just think to yourself, do I actually need to push? Like, sometimes the answer is when not in these scenarios, but in just the regular game, you have things that force you to push. For example, the economy is one of the main causes for you to push very aggressively very quickly, because you're losing 2,000 ducats per month and you're going to bankrupt in 5 years. So you need to push, you need to win. But in this scenario, you can actually, every single time you have this, okay, well, there's no real rush. And another rush that's possible is my opponent is going to have a tech before I do. So I need to win right now. And again, this in principle should not happen here. So this setup encourages sitting back, as we see, like when I play versus Jones or versus Blitz, and we just stare at each other for a long time.
Yeah, basically, because it's suicide to step on enemy force usually.
Yeah, but the problem was I kind of needed to push because I only had level 2 forts, so he could easily siege me down.
No, that's not the problem at all.
Standing there.
No, because he can't. Yes and no. So yes, because he can assault them quickly, but no, because he can always guard your forts with a vanguard.
Yes.
Like the opponent moves onto the fort. The moment he's movement locked, you can already attack him. So you don't need to worry about level 2 forts. Like it's what you say is true because he assaults them really quickly, but it is false in the sense that you can't defend them because it's still quite easily defensible.
Yeah, and the inverse is true. Is if the level 2 fort falls, well, you can just instantly take it back.
You can also assault it back real quick.
Is like, in a sense, there could be some validity to put level 2 forts. And this is a troll answer. It's definitely not, but like it's not a disaster if your level 2 fort falls, because at some point you can be assaulted like without too much effort. But you don't want to assault forts when it's not necessary because it costs 55 military points. So, yeah. Yep. All right. Well. Hopefully, this was a learning experience. I think we were quite harsh in our commentary.
Well,
it really fair.
So we do apologize. But,
I kind of deserved, to be honest.
I don't feel bad. Like, again, I really want to stress that most people just never play late game 1v1s. Think about this, like how much hour in terms of, you have maybe like what, 2k hours of EU4 total played?
1k.
1k. So actually, you're that's very little, huh, compared to most people who are part of the MP community already. Because we have like what 3k and something in hundreds of hours. But think about how many of those 1k hours you have played wars, and then even 1v1 wars. The answer might be 0.
I can tell you the exact hour. 4 hours. The one time when I subbed for Wizard.
Ah, yeah. Okay.
Exactly. 4 hours.
Late game experience that I had in the entire game.
Can you imagine how little that is? Like, could you imagine playing well at StarCraft or Dota or anything
4 hours.
in 4 hours? Like, you're shit tier basically with 4 hours, right? But here in EU4, like, we can, just by playing this one time, you're gonna have improved your level. Just, like, it's incredible. And as we've seen with other players like Six when he returned or Monkey Man when he returned, the difference was astronomical. So yeah, I think players should not be discouraged if they think they make mistakes. And here you can see them, you can look at them, you can identify them, and you can make plans of what works best for you on how to address them, because Serenade and me have our own specific ideas of how to sort of reinforce and what metaphors to use and how to think about the game. But of course, you can view that for yourself and think, okay, well, I'm going to establish this method for reinforcing. Oh, I would like to before I forget, when it comes to reinforcing, I would say
army river crossings, huh?
No, yeah, well, I mean that a bit too advanced, but I was going to say, until you develop a feel for when to reinforce, just straight on looking at the casualties compared to the bars and the colors and things, which takes a lot of time. Just use the method that's written in the guide of saying every 10 days a troop needs to arrive. And you just count, like you just literally count to yourself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then you send, right? And it's so simple, it works like a charm. Your troops are not going to arrive too late ever again. It's true.
Yeah.
Right? Unless you're like fighting versus, Uber Prussia and he's throwing only 9s. Like sometimes things can go wrong. But if you just follow that easy pattern of saying, okay, I'm counting to 10, and 10 days that is, and I'm reinforcing at the end of my 10 days, you're going to arrive on time. And you're never going to have your backline break, which is an absolute disaster. You need to retreat when that happens. But okay.
Yeah, I also had that problem where I was like looking at my stack at the end of the battle, and I saw that I had lost half of my cannons, and was like, oh shit, I need to reinforce them.
Yeah. Yeah, but the answer to that is not to say, okay, I need to look at the battles more often. Maybe you can look at, like, I would suggest to players, look at the first battle. Because then you can instantly know this, oh, am I missing moral? Am I missing discipline? Am I missing this and this or that? But
after the first battle, you should immediately know that your policies are off, because like how else can your troops be so shit when you have the same ideas, you know?
But that's like the only time you need to look at your army. The rest of the time, you're supposed to make sure that you reinforce, and as long as you reinforce fine, your troops are going to arrive on time. Now, sometimes you can notice when like a lot of battles are going on, then sometimes you tend to misjudge things and things can happen. But so just remember, on average, when quality is equal, every 10 days you just send in a guy, and it's fine. Your troops are gonna arrive. All right. Well, okay. I guess that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So thanks for
parting
coming.
words? Yeah.
I hope you learned. Like, I hope this will help you a lot in your gameplay.
Yeah, upgrade thoughts.
Yeah. Do you have any? If you have any questions, just feel free to ask us. Like whenever.
I probably need to read the guide, and then maybe I have some questions.
Yeah, like the guide is basically not at least it is now. It is basically spammed with recommendations, and yeah, so following all of these recommendations basically makes you pretty fucking good.
Pretty fucking good. Eagle tier.
Eagle tier.
Eagle
in
tier.
my words. Well, Eagle is slightly better than this still, but close enough.
He's trying to protect Eagle's ego. I don't know why.
No, Eagle is actually pretty good.
Wow, I didn't say the opposite.
It's just that the guide material is not really that basic. Like, it's not as basic as I thought.
Well, yeah, because if you make it more basic, then you're not really giving valuable information.
I plan for it to be even more basic, but then I realized I think this is kind of good because this lets people they get all the basics and they also get a kind of fundamental understanding into higher level strategy, while not flooding them with too much unnecessary information.
Yeah.
But yeah, one day we need to do a video guide on warfare.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna do that.
Yeah, at some point.
Like for zone control and stuff like that, it's never gonna be explained otherwise.
I mean,
and for
Raymond's
advanced
video on zone of control is quite good.
The what?
Raymond has a zone of control video, which is quite
Raymond, yeah. And it stands the game so well from a multiplayer perspective. Absolutely.
No.
You don't listen to his recommendations. You listen to his facts.
Oh, okay.
No.
Like you don't listen to him when he says things like what idea groups are good. Like that's nonsense. You listen to him when he says, okay, this is the distance rule and it works like this. you know.
Yeah, but he mostly talks about.
He actually doesn't.
I know.
He actually makes a lot of factual mistakes when it comes to these rules.
That is also true, but you know, you have to. I mean, when you're looking at material, you always have to, you know, think about it and not just blindly accept stuff. Same for my guide, actually, except my guide is almost guaranteed to be correct because it's been proofread a lot of times.
100% correct.
I mean,
that's
you can
Pash.
point out my mistakes.
Pash just is a hater.
Yeah, you're just a hater.
Anyway,
you don't want to be
but I'm gonna close the stream. GG, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
GG.
game.